Hi guys, welcome to my channel, to another video. This will just be kind of a casual update of what I've been wearing, what I've been swapping, a little bit about the purchases I made 2 weeks ago and if they were a success or not, or where I'm at with them. I'm kind of getting to know these fragrances a little bit, but I'll just start off by scent of the day and I'll explain why I chose, or it's a scent combination actually. Okay, so I put out, I was still kind of feeling a little heavy, you know, on the different, sorry for all the noise. I was feeling a little bit heavy, like I still would like to get rid of a few more bottles. So I decided to put this out, this fragrance out for sale. And this is Musc Ambre Gris from Affinessence. I don't know if you're familiar with this brand, but this comes from a house. It's all about base notes. And I think they do have like a top note collection as well with not as many fragrances, but the base note collection has like one that is most talked about, I think, is Santal Basmati that smells, that's really like creamy, and it really does smell like steamed basmati rice, which I think is a little bit too foodie for me. But this one was a swap for me. I got a hold of a tester bottle of Remarkable People from État d'Orange sometime last year, and I just realized I wasn't wearing it, and I didn't know this fragrance. I think I had actually tried it, just sniffed it like briefly when I was in Croatia last summer. And I decided to go for it, you know, because the tester bottle was kind of like something I got with this other kind of big purchase. So I wouldn't call it like a free bottle, but it was kind of a free bottle in a way. But this, I guess this is her way of giving a discount when you buy quite a lot. But this is a really, really special fragrance that I very rarely wear, like almost never, because it smells, I mean, I think this is a kind of a molecular fragrance that like other people can tell that you're wearing it more than maybe you yourself. Like there might be something like ambroxan type in here. I think maybe not real ambergris, because when I compare this to Escale en Indonésie from Les Indemodables, this is really, really different. And this smells to me more like it wouldn't be the real thing. But I mean, I don't really know. I don't know fragrance that well yet. But this also has like notes of vetiver, truffle, patchouli. It's all like base yerba mate, or like mate, this special drink that they drink in South America, like instead of coffee. But today I decided, okay, no, I put it out for really, for a low price. Like I put it out for like $50, 50 euro, roughly. And then no one bought it. And then like after a day, I lowered the price to 30. And then someone wrote, will you share the shipping with me? And I put the price so way, way down. I thought then at least I'll get rid of it. And still someone wanted to bargain with me about postage. Then I just like, I lost my interest and I took down the ad and I decided I'm going to keep this. I bet, you know, that's what the universe has planned for me. And today, I'm going into this little event. I was going to meet a bunch of people. So this is a little bit risky. I put like 6 sprays of this on, or like 3 on this arm, 3 here, and then 1 behind my ear. And then I decided that it was a little bit too hardcore to wear by itself. So I put on each arm, I added, I love this by the way, Honor by Amouage. This is like a really nice white floral with an amouage-y kind of olibanum kind of base. And I just added a spray of this on each arm, just to kind of like feminize it a little bit, I guess. And as soon as I sat down, I got a compliment. It's like, you smell good. And this person said that that I smelled like, he went into this shop in Italy when he was there. This is like not a perfume person at all, but like he went into a special shop with a friend who was a perfume person, and they met this guy who makes his own perfumes. And then they got to try a bunch of his like homemade stuff, and they got these strips. And he actually gave me all his strips, but they had kind of, the smell had worn off pretty much. And I can't remember this guy's name now, but he said that something during that day smelled just like this. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I, you know, maybe this, I was kind of getting whiffs like of myself on the way into town, and I kind of liked it. So I think I'm just going to hold on to this for a while and experiment a little bit with layering, because I think this is all about, and you know what I picked up in here that I hadn't noticed before was the vetiver. Because I bought just recently, one of the purchases I made when I went up north was this Escale en Haiti, like stopover in Haiti, which is a cologne from Les Indemodables. And this is a really, really fresh vetiver. I've really been enjoying this. I've worn it like 2 or 3 times. I've given a decant to my friend, so I actually haven't made this whole dent myself. But this is, there is a little similarity between these two, but this one is more of, it has more of a bodily, animalic, I think, undertone kind of, or not even undertone, I think it's the main tone. And this is more like rootsy. It's rooty. It's maybe a little bit, God, what is it? I mean, there's some citruses in here, I think. I think this is really fresh, and this is more maybe like, it's vetiver, but not in a fresh way, if you know what I mean. It's more earthy, I would say. This is an earthy fragrance. But I really, it's funny how I kind of like put it out there, and I just kind of got a little bit pissed off with this guy that wanted to like bargain with me, although my price was $30. I just didn't think that was fair, so here I am with it, and I'm very happy to keep it. Okay, so I also bought, last or 2 weeks ago, Angélique from Papillon, which is, I'm very happy with this fragrance. It's a very nice iris, or actually orris butter fragrance with mimosa. And the only problem with it is that the performance isn't that great, and this might be an even bigger problem for me, it's too close to Lost Alice from Masque Milano. But this is like really a lot more potent, and it goes a little bit in a different direction. Like the openings are really different, but when they dry down, there's a big overlap. Like they're both, this one's maybe a little bit milkier and creamier, and this is a little bit more like floral and transparent. But they're very similar, I think. I would never have thought, because when I was in the store, this was to me kind of a, not a standard iris, but maybe a little bit, an iris a little on the creamy side, I would say. So I was kind of surprised that these were so close. And I saw in Fragrantica that several had said that, but I could not smell that in the store. There was no way that my nose was picking that up, but now it is. So what I'm thinking is, hopefully I can swap this for a tango, perhaps. But I still haven't managed to do that, of course. But I think I will actually let go of one of them. Let's see. And then I also, this was a free bottle that I got with my purchase, and it's from Isabey, and it's called L'Ambre de Carthage. And it is like a quite masculine-leaning, spicy amber with osmanthus in the base, and it also has some tea notes, some birch tar. But this one is kind of like, I'm struggling a little bit with this, and I think it's because of that fruity mid that from the osmanthus. Let's see, what else does it have? I mean, it has kind of the usual amber notes, but it had, you know, like sandalwood, amber, olibanum, and musk. But then it also, patchouli in the mid. But it also has these head notes, jasmine, tea, and birch, which are notes that I typically gravitate towards. And I did a comparison just to kind of see where, you know, where does this fit in kind of the range of ambers that my nose is already familiar with. So the first thing that came to mind when I smelled this was L'air du Desert Marocain from Tower Perfumes. Do you like my French pronunciation? Let's see, I brought that down just to kind of remind myself where did I put it. Yeah, here it is. LDDM. This is it. But they are quite different. They have like 80% in common, and then this one has the osmanthus that kind of makes it fruity and a little bit sweet. It's not overly sweet at all. It doesn't have that benzoin-y, vanillic, sweet, modern amber base. It's more of a dry, spicy, desert-like kind of amber, just like LDDM. I don't want to say it again in French. But this one's really heavy on the cumin, and I don't think this one is. So they're not in any way like identical. I'm just not sure about this. But then I wanted to kind of see, how does this pair up against like a modern resinous kind of sweeter amber fragrance. So I decided to get out Amber Cello from, I have a little one of these there. They're from a company called Sniff with PH at the end. They sell in Sweden and the UK. They have this little 8mm subscription service. I don't really like their assortment of fragrances that much, and this is no exception. I don't think I like this amber as much after I tried these, because these I feel are a different kind of quality. And I kind of found the same when I did this comparison with like Belle Amie from Hermes compared to Falcon Leather from Matière Première, that one is like sophisticated and beautifully blended, whereas Falcon Leather was kind of screaming, and it was really, really sweet. I felt like a lot of sugar, and I feel a little bit like this too when I made this comparison. Let's see about the notes here. I kind of, what I do is, I'll put this in a different book, whatever. I couldn't find my notebook, but this is what I remember. This has kind of like standard, let me just spray it again just to kind of get my memory back. This is more of a standard amber. It's next to these other two. It's super sweet, loud, and not so well blended. But I thought another time when I wore this, because I went back and I read what I had written the first few times I wore this, and then I wrote that this was a really light amber, and now I found that it was like a really sweet amber. So it kind of depends on what you compare it to, but I kind of lost interest in it now, because I find that these are more interesting, even though I'm struggling with the osmanthus note in here. I mean, osmanthus, for example, in Sunshine Woman, I find that really hard to sort of, it's funny, because I mean, I like Guidance, has an osmanthus note, and I like, what else has osmanthus? I wonder if this one, there's a fragrance that I have been, oh yeah, this one that I just talked about has an osmanthus note as well. But this, it doesn't come across as, it doesn't have that fruity leatheriness as this one. This one has, it's very noticeable in this one. But I do find that I have quite a few fragrances that have the note of osmanthus actually that I still like. Oh, I had an idea for another video. I'm gonna put together a video where it's gonna be called something like Notes I Don't Like, but it works in this one kind of video. I'm gonna turn the sound off of that one. But then I did actually put a few in here. Let's see. Oh yeah, Ashoka from Nila Vermeer Perfumes, that smells of like, oh, that one both has fig and osmanthus, and fig is a difficult note for me, and so is osmanthus, but in Ashoka it really works. But I think there are, oh yeah, and then there's also True Lust from État Libre d'Orange that has osmanthus, and I like that one as well. So there's always that exception, you know, to the rule. I don't think there are any notes that I just cannot do. Like even like Immortelle, I don't like Immortelle, but it works in one of my really bad ones. Cacao Porcelana has that note. So there's always that exception. I found that kind of interesting how it can work. Certain notes can work in certain compositions, and it might not be, you know, it might not be very amped up either. But anyway, Amber Cello, I don't know, I'm a little bit off that, but those were the ambers that I wanted to talk about. Then I've kind of rediscovered a few fragrances in my collection. I was so happy. Maybe just all that was necessary was that a little bit warmer weather. And they're the 3 fragrances that I bought in the spring from the house Sous le manteau, under the cloak. This one I thought was maybe a fragrance too many. It's called Essence du Serail. And it's a really beautiful white floral. And I have really enjoyed it so much. And I think this one has Lily of the Valley, but I still like it because I don't like Lily of the Valley. Maybe that was on the list here. Let's see. Oh, I haven't made that list yet, but I thought I would make a list of Lily of the Valley fragrances that I like, because even though I don't like Lily of the Valley so much, and I think I mentioned that in my vintage video, because there's a lot of fragrances like from the 80s and 90s that have a kind of a strong Lily of the Valley note, or lilac, or hyacinth, or something, you know, something really kind of soapy. At least I find them soapy. Another one, that was Essence du Serail. Love it. I've been wearing it several times. I've worn it lately. And the same with this one, Cuir D'Orient. This one is actually pretty similar to a fragrance that I reach for a lot. It's one of my most worn fragrances, actually, and it is Iris Prima from Penhaligon's. And this fragrance, when I don't know what to wear, I wear this. It's really incredibly beautiful. It's just the perfect amount of suede. It's soft. It's easy. It's an easy wear. I get compliments for it. Not that I care so much about that, but it obviously people like it. And I mean, that does matter to me. I don't want to smell weird. I don't want to like come off as like, what are you wearing? Like with a, you know, with a frown on their face or anything. So, I mean, I think it definitely matters. I want to smell good. That was, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of that, but it's a little bit closer to, I think, Cuir Beluga from Guerlain, which I didn't like when I tried it like 2 years ago. I thought it was too sweet and vanillic, but maybe I have to, you know, go back and try it again. It reminds me a little bit also of, what is that fragrance called? From Van Cleef & Arpels private line. Not private line, but they're like more expensive line. God, what is the name of it? I forget. It comes in a black bottle. They're a little bit bigger than the standard bottles. They're like 125 instead of 75, and I forget the name. I'll put it in the comments after I publish this video. But this is a really nice. It's not so cheap though. It's not like if this is like a super cheap alternative to these other ones. I'd say probably about the same price, but at least they have these little 14 ml bottles, which I find a super good size for me. Very happy. And then also this last one, Poudre Impériale. These were all actually, these three were created by Natalie Feistauer. And I found that I really like her fragrances. I like powdery fragrances. They all have kind of a heliotrope-y kind of feel to them. Okay, so I've, okay, let's see what I've got to show you. Oh my gosh. This weekend, we had some really hot weather, and I just kind of felt that I'm going to wear this today. I just have a little squirt left of it. And I made a video about this fragrance. It's called Cardamom and Mimosa, and it's from Jo Malone. And it's my only Jo Malone fragrance. I mean, I don't have the full bottle. I used to, but I never wore it, so I got rid of it. But I kept this little squirt for nostalgic reasons, because this fragrance takes me back to Northern California, where I used to go in the summers, like all the time. And it reminds me so much of my grandfather. And it's not like he wore this fragrance. It's kind of like the whole, maybe like the softener and like laundry detergent that my grandma used to use. And he was a very clean man. He took care of himself. He polished his shoes. He probably had, you know, a collar with starch on it. He used polo, you know, green polo. I'm not quite sure what that smells like. I think it's classic fougere. I'm just guessing, but a little bit of maybe his, you know, his aftershave, the kind you put on and it stings a little. This brings me back. And when I wore this, I don't know if it was the mimosa in this that kind of got me interested in trying mimosa in another fragrance, but like there's mimosa and tonka and cardamom. Those are the only notes that are listed here. Let's see. I just enjoyed every minute of it, and I could kind of, I don't know, it kind of was like a summery yet a slightly gourmandy fragrance to me when I wore it the other day, and I was just so happy to wear it and just enjoyed it all day, or as long as it would last. I mean, it didn't last 10 hours or anything, but I'm sure it lasted like 5. Decent performance, I'll have to say. And then a bottle came up on like our Swedish eBay called Tradera for like, but I think they put the price too high. Like the price was like maybe 75% of the original price, and I just think that's too much. I don't even want a 100 ml bottle. I could, you know, cheaper, I could buy a 30 ml, but I'm going to look around for a partial. I think I want a bottle of this actually. But I'm not willing to pay big money for it, or maybe a swap. I'm going to find it somehow. I see these kind of around sometimes. Just wanted to kind of report in on that. Then I've worn my Bengale Rouge twice, and it's not the weather for this kind of perfume. It's just too sweet for the summer. Even at night, I find it's kind of, I have enjoyed it, and the honey, it's really, really strong honey and myrrh, and I think I'll really, really enjoy this when the temperatures start to fall. I don't regret this purchase. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it because I went through a whole decant and I loved every drop. So, but in the summer, it's a little hardcore for me. I think I'll save that. Oh, this is kind of another fragrance of the day. This is Guidance. I just decided that 100 ml was too much for me, so I put this out for split in my Swedish group, and I automatically had like 20 people wanting to buy this from me, or wanted to, you know, to buy a decant. So I've just squirted up now 9 decants. I have 10 I'm going to sell, 10 fivers, and I'll get some money in, and then I don't feel so bad about owning this expensive bottle. I got quite a decent price for it, and I only charged them, you know, whatever I paid plus like a small amount for decant and postage. But this is so strong. This is like, you only need 2 sprays because this is just beast mode. And I stood in front of the window squirting these because it's so strong. The whole upstairs is going to stink like this. It's really kind of an overwhelming scent. You kind of have to be in the mood for it. I don't regret it, but this also has an osmanthus note. This has a real, I think this is really, really unique. And I don't regret buying it, but I think it'll take me a long time to get through this. I'll tell you that. Okay, I think so much more wearable is Honor, for sure. It's not as unique, but it's an easy reach. I actually find myself wearing this a lot, and especially if I'm wearing something, I can top things off with this if I feel like I'm smelling too vanillic, or it's too basey, or this is, maybe I'll put on like an oud fragrance and it's just too much and too musky. Then this kind of lifts it up. Very happy about that. I got a good price for that secondhand. Okay, and then I have some samples that I'm kind of ready to, that I made a decision on. I don't think I've spoken about this before. This is called Outrageous, and it's from Frederic Malle. I don't know if you've seen their samples. They look like this. And they have the perfumer's name even on the sample, and the little cardboard box that the sample comes in. And this was created by Sophia Groisman. And this is a beautiful citrus fragrance. And it has mint in it, and I've really, really been enjoying it. But I sprayed it up super fast, and the longevity is terrible. So I can't really recommend it. And I have a hard time paying like Frederic Malle prices for a freshie. But I really have enjoyed this fragrance, I'll have to say. Let's see, I got some notes on that one. Yeah, it is a, if you're looking for a, you know, like a nice citrusy, let's see where I can find my notes here. Let's see. Oh, I have to talk, now I have another outrageous. Okay, the name is very misleading. There's nothing outrageous about this. So I don't know what they were thinking when they named this. It's just really beautiful and fresh. It also has, it has lime and green apple, grapefruit, mint, cinnamon. I don't know if I get cinnamon. It's fresh and clean. It has neroli and orange blossom in the middle, but I didn't get bothered by the neroli. It's not like, it doesn't smell anything like cleaning detergent or anything like that. It's just really, really beautiful. I also wrote down it has a chalkiness that makes it a little bit less juicy and transparent compared to like other citrus fragrances. I think I saw someone on Fragrantica using the word chalky, and I was like, immediately, I was like, okay, that's it. It's a little bit like, there's something that makes it not so transparent. I think that was a pretty good word. And then there's something semi-sweet in the background. It has a really nice, like, subtle sweetness that comes out in the dry down, but it is, I mean, it doesn't have like just 30 minutes performance. It'll stay on for an hour or two, maybe. Maybe I get hints of it after 3 hours, but not great. I wouldn't spend my money on it. So this is completely empty, so I don't have anything to pass on. Then I have this sample called, a fragrance called Arcadian from a house called Pineward or Pinward. This is the one that was founded by a 20-year-old guy, or a guy in his 20s. I don't know if he's 20, but he grew up in the Rocky Mountains, and he makes fragrances that are forest-based. You know, the theme is the forest. And this one kind of has, let me see about this one. I just saw my notes that passed by. Yeah, so this has violet leaf, juniper, cranberry bush. Oh, there's also some notes here that I'd like never seen before, like St. John's wort, which is supposed to be a yellow floral, never heard of it. Atlantic ivy, bladderwhack, which is some kind of algae, and seawater, and ambergris. And then it has like fresh soil, oak moss. So it's kind of a, I don't know if I got this from the website, a fresh natural experience of the forest, soil, and sea all in one. And I really, really agree with that description. For me, it just went too marine. Like I wouldn't wear this. And I wore this on my hand when I was walking in town with Clara the other day, and she could kind of she was getting this kind of strong little little whips coming her way, and she said she didn't like it on me. I really appreciate honesty in this situation. And I don't know, these sea notes, if you look on Fragrantica, it says seaweed, but I think it does actually smell like seaweed, and I don't want to smell like seaweed. I mean, no, I don't. So that one I'm going to pass on to someone, but I would like to smell more from the house, and I know a friend who has a few bottles from there. I think she has a bottle of, I think it's called Christmas wine, like that has spices. I think it also has something foresty in there. And speaking of forest, this fragrance that I bought 2 weeks ago, I actually really like. And someone had written somewhere that it smells like a vacation by the Mediterranean, and I really think that it's a good description of it. I'm just going to spray a little to refresh my memory. It's super, super piney. I mean, now I smelled it a little bit too fast. It has like a mintiness almost to it in the opening. And I think there's like orange blossom in here. Let's see if I can find the notes for this one. I mean, there's nothing in my collection that reminds me of this like at all, which is nice. I don't know if I would like wear this. See, this foresty kind of fragrance is kind of, I've been a little off and on when it comes to forest fragrances. But if I'm in the mood, let's see if I can find this here. Let's see, that was this one. I don't know what I did with these. Oh well, I'll have to get back to you on that exact notes. Maybe you're not interested in in notes anyway. I'm usually not, actually, to hear someone read the notes. You can look them up, but I think this one also, the notes on Fragrantica don't quite match what the brand themselves say about this. I think there's something called like pine stone, but on Fragrantica they've written like pine and stone, like as two separate notes. There's something not right about this. But this house was founded in Germany by these two guys. They're like, one is from Croatia and one's from Serbia, I think. And I think they got a fair bit of attention at Essence. Was it earlier this year or was it in the fall? I'm not quite sure. But see, they have their autographs on here. Very nice green fragrance with something fresh going on the top. I would have almost guessed that there was something minty in here. It's really different on skin than on a paper. And also it was really different, I found, on my friend compared to me. Like it was fresher on me or something. But I really liked it on her as well. And it also has something incensey about it. There's going to be more to discover in here. I feel that this is quite layered, and this might perform really different in different kinds of weather. So I'm sort of, but you know what it really smells like? It smells like evergreens. Like it smells like Northern California to me. Like these greens, I don't know what they're called, but that stay green year round. You kind of crumble them between your fingers, these pines, and they're like, or it's not really pines, it's something in between a leaf and a pine, or a pine needle. That's what this smells like to me. I'm still kind of just getting to know it, but I'm actually happy about it. Then I wanted to talk about, let's see, Harvest Mouse by Zoologist. And I've talked about this before on my channel. Oh, by the way, I got a hold of Clara, my friend, gave me a $5 of Chameleon. I don't know, you guys who follow me, you know that I went up and I was going to buy a bottle of Chameleon and they were out of stock. So now I have, so I can make it for a while. I've just worn it once though since I got it, but very happy to have it. But I wanted to revisit Harvest Mouse because I met this woman in the shop where they sold it and she said it didn't work on her skin at all. And I thought this was pretty interesting because for me it was kind of it's not a Zoologist to my nose, or it wasn't. When I smelled it in the store, it was kind of like just a French plain vanilla, like really uninteresting, and like I really couldn't see the Zoologist part of it. And then I heard Ramsey talking about Harvest Mouse, and he said that it smells like, this is what I really, really couldn't get into my head. So I had to get myself a squirt of it because I had already passed my sample on to somebody. So we swapped a little bit. I have this little bit of Harvest Mouse, and she got something from me. So, and he said when what he gets from this is saffron and oud. And I don't think it has neither listed, but he says it reminds him of oud. He said the EDP, he was talking about the EDP, and this is the extrait, but I mean, they're pretty much, I think, the same fragrance, but they have different concentrations. And I was like, they don't have anything in common to my nose. And I thought this was really interesting. So I had to, like, since I do value Ramsey's opinion, maybe a little bit too much. I want to get around to where he kind of lost me a little bit in one video that he recently made. Let's see here. I made some notes about this that I'm sure of I did. Let's see, where did I put Harvest Mouse? Maybe I can't find it. Can't find it. But anyway, to me, this is really, really strong, and it has kind of like a little bit of a Band-Aid quality to it. And when someone said this smells like the dentist's clinic or something, dentist office, I could really get that, and I'm hard to get that association outside of mine, but I still love it for some reason, although I never wear it. I don't dare wear it. I have this little tiny, tiny bit, but I do very often stand at night and sniff the top because I love it. I love the smell so much. And I don't find there's very, very little similarity between these two fragrances. There might be a note of saffron in here. And it does remind me of another fragrance, actually. And that is that I have spoken about a lot on this channel, and I still haven't gone full bottle on it, although I've been offered a pretty good price, or a discount anyway. And it's called Desired from Élisire. These two, I do actually find have something in common. And I think it might be the note of saffron. But I don't really, this is supposed to have like a beer note, like something that smells like wheat or like bread, or I don't quite get that, but I haven't worked with it enough. Maybe I have to wear it again. And I just think it's fun when people start mentioning things that they're picking up or making references to other fragrances that I know really well and I can't get my head to connect the two. Then I want to go back and see if I can discover something more in there. So that'll be fun to kind of like keep looking for things in Harvest Mouse. Let's see. I think this, oh, and then this is another one that I'm going to pass on that Ramsey has been talking about a lot. And he really thinks this is a good fragrance. He doesn't often say good things about modern fragrances, but this one from Frederic Malle, it's called Synthetic Jungle. It's a really super green fragrance with like galbanum. And he says that the basil note, I say basil, I don't know if that's wrong or they're different pronunciations, but is really, really spectacular in here. But this is like a really special modern chypre fragrance that is really, really a challenge to my nose. God, I don't know what's with my notes today. I should have a better system, you know, like I should maybe get a binder and then have them alphabetically or something like that. So I can find them when I want to find them. Or when I make a video, I should write them down perhaps ahead of time. Maybe I'll do that next time. Let's see if I can find this. There, Synthetic Jungle. It was created by Anne Filippo, and he says she really created a masterpiece, but I just can't. I don't know. This is a really difficult one for me. Galbanum, basil, blackcurrant, and the top. Blackcurrant is usually not a like for me. Oh, Lily of the Valley. There we go. That's probably it. And hyacinth. So double dose of florals that I typically don't like. Jasmine, ylang ylang almond. I don't get any of that. Oak moss for sure. Patchouli, yes. You know, this is, maybe I should keep this because I might like this like in 6 months when I get used to it. And I haven't worn it that much on skin. Maybe it will dry down to something nice. Yeah, I don't think I'll pass this on. I'll put it away for a little bit and then I'll, you know, come back to it. And then I'll just tell you about these two fragrances that I have a new decant of Après L'Onde from Guerlain. This is a kind of a current formulation. It's really just like a beautiful floral, but really, really fresh. I really don't think I'll wear this much, to be honest. I just felt it was one of those things I feel like I need to know what it is, and it was a swap. I think she got for some Escale on Indonésie. It's in a bottle just like this. It's kind of like this one. It only has ambergris instead of vetiver. I really like those two colognes a lot. And I really enjoyed these vetiver fragrances that I got. Really happy with that one, the Haiti one. And then this was one that I tried up north, but I ended up not getting. It's kind of a cheapie. It's called Click Song from Une Nuit Nomade. And this is like it's kind of a deep resinous amber. I think there might be some fruitiness in here as well. And the only thing is it comes in a roller ball. But I swapped it for like an 8 milliliter Vanagloria that I'll never wear. I really didn't like Vanagloria at all. That's the one that's often compared to Baby Cat by YSL that recently came out. So this was at least better than that. So I at least get a chance to try something from this house. So that'll be fun as well. Okay, well that was all for today, guys. So happy to see your comments coming in. And oh, I did want to mention why Ramsey kind of lost me when I was watching him last week. I was listening to him talk about the house of Celine. And I had that day I had actually visited Celine, and then I just thought I'll just see what Ramsey thinks of this house, and then I kind of listened to two videos. He made like first impressions of Bois Dormant and Dormant, and what was the other one called? Black Tie. And I guess that they kind of marketed these as kind of a duo. Black Tie was for the night, and Bois Dormant was for the daytime. And he thought that was really stupid, and you could really tell. This is when I really could tell that like Ramsey has made up his mind before he even hits play. He just knows he's going to hate the house, and I just think I mean, he can think whatever he wants, of course. And then I think he has a real problem with like lack of originality, lack of creativity, like when a house brings absolutely nothing new to the table. And he says that the whole house is kind of a ripoff of D'Orient, that whole line. Or it started off actually with Bois d'Argent from Dior. That was created by, God, I can't remember now who. Anyway, the next year, Dior Homme came out, and that was like it was like a huge success. And so many other fragrances were created, kind of inspired by that, and every house had their take on this. But in this case, Ramsey sort of has decided that this is not just a take on this. This is a copy, and he doesn't like this. And I don't think he thinks that the fragrances smell terrible or anything, but he thinks that he said that Black Tie was like the most boring fragrance he had ever smelled. Okay, I really, really love the Celine fragrances. I find them all to be very beautiful. They're pretty close to each other. They have like 10 fragrances maybe, and they're all like powdery iris fragrances, and then they go in a little bit different directions. Like one will have more woodsy notes, one has more citrusy notes, and then there's like night clubbing has a little more patchouli. Bois Dormant is actually might be a little bit close to Bois d'Argent. I'm not a fan of Dior Privé, but I think maybe Bois d'Argent is one of the best ones, had it not been for that the performance is terrible, which also, I'll have to say, goes for all the Celine fragrances. The ones I've tried, I've had decants of Black Tie. I've only had a decant of Black Tie, actually. Then I've had samples of, a few others, and the performance is really, really bad. Like, you have to spray a lot to get an effect. And the price point, I cannot justify the price. I wouldn't buy a full bottle, so I'm with Ramsey there completely. But I'm thinking like this: if you don't have any history in perfume, you don't know about Dior Homme, you don't know about Bois d'Argent from Dior, and the fact that maybe this was inspired by something and they've done a copy-paste, then how would you ever know? Because you just go in there, you might love the Celine handbags, and you just happen to come across a perfume and you like the smell. What's wrong with that, you know? And then he often talks about, with this I find a little bit strange, Ramsey works in finance, but he often talks about like houses wanting to make money as a really bad thing. And since I've been a businesswoman myself, I know, and I've been very passionate about food and try to combine it with business, and I know how hard it is. But I mean, a business has to make money. If you don't make money as a business, you're dead. You know, the competition will press you out. So I mean, what there are, of course, economies of scale, when it comes to perfumery. That's why the big houses are buying the smaller houses. It's not only to like water them down, it's probably also to be able to buy bigger batches of ingredients. And I think one of the reasons they're reformulating things, it's not only to reduce the quality, it's to kind of find, of course, they're making fragrances to appeal to the masses, and it might not interest, us fragrance nerds as much. But the fact that they're making money, they want to survive, right? And they want to keep making money. And I don't see that that's a bad thing. But of course, we can keep going to smaller, indie houses, and we can get things from Papillon and this house. I never even mentioned this house. It's called Wesker. Instead, and try to stay away from Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, I think they're called LVMH. Because all they're after is money. But it kind of is it's reality. If you don't make money, you aren't in the game. So if they can find a way to take $300 for a fragrance that smells really good, then, let them. Let them do it. And we don't have to do it. And I appreciate his honesty on the topic, and he can think what he wants. But I think it's a little bit overly negative, because these fragrances are very beautiful, and I think for the maybe not so nerdy fragrance person, or for the person who, like Celine, might not have so many fragrances, I think these fragrances are incredible. Black tie is, I did actually kind of get bored after 5 milliliter. Like, I went in and smelled it again when I was in last week, and I felt like I'm done with this. I don't need it in my collection. I have so many other fragrances, but I really like this Bois Dormant. I think it's really nice, and some of the other ones as well. So I would definitely wear them. They would be a really easy wear. Like when you don't know what to wear, you put on a Celine fragrance. But the price tag kind of puts me off. I don't think they're worth the price, so I'm totally with him there. But like, he also had a thing where he said, that he had a problem with a logo. It looked like two C's that were like kind of like this. They were turning each way, and he said, they're so close to Chanel's where the C's are connected, and there was like an hourglass in the middle. But it turns out that the hourglass is not an hourglass. It's is it Champs-Élysées? Some French, something else. There was a story behind it, and Celine created this herself back in the day, and there's a whole story, and it's totally not a copy, whatever. And I don't know. I just kind of, I think it's important to make your own, to form your own opinion about something. And I think I have valued Ramsey's opinions a little bit too much. I think he went too far this time. I don't think that Celine is a house worth trashing, but I wouldn't go so far as to recommend the fragrances, but maybe you have skin where they actually last longer. So it could be worth a try if you pass by. And the bottles are beautiful. They also sell like a discovery set. You can get like all 10 fragrances, but they're in splash bottles. So I didn't find that so interesting either. But anyway, I don't know. I'm looking for other people to follow as well. I think Ramsey's super entertaining. I still value his opinions, but sometimes I think he makes a mistake here and there. And it seems biased, like he doesn't want to like them. But I do. If you really feel like that, that originality is super important, or creativity, that's like a major factor when you're choosing fragrances, then I can understand it. But for me, it's mostly important that the fragrance smells good. There are other fragrances that smell like Iris Prima. For example, Bottega Veneta, EDP. I think this is better though. But that's like a cheaper and more accessible. I think this might be discontinued. I'm not sure. But that one definitely, I'm not sure which came out first. I think this one came out first. But I don't have a problem with, it's kind of like it's allowed, so just let them, It's if you have a hit with something, other people are going to copy you. I started my grocery bag business, and 6 months later, there were all kinds of copycats. That's just the way it works, People will copy things, and there's even this little book, I don't know if on creativity, it's called Steal Like an Artist. Because I think anytime you steal something, or you're inspired by something, you still add something of your own. You add packaging, you add, like a whole, it's not an exact copy. And I've smelled Dior Homme Intense, and it doesn't it doesn't smell like a black tie is not a copy of that. They smell different, and I think that definitely Dior Intense has more of a makeup vibe. Like it smells like kind of like old powdery makeup, and I think black tie is more is fresher. Now I haven't made a side by side or anything, but as I remember, they aren't copies. Inspired by, I can buy that, but what's wrong with that, you know? Anyway, that was all for today, guys. Oh, this was a long video. Sorry about that.